Welcome to the Open Forum in the Villages, Florida. In this show, we talk to leaders of clubs and interesting folks who live here in the Villages to get perspectives of what is happening here in the Villages, Florida. We are a listener-supported podcast. There will be shout-outs for supporters in episodes.
This is Mike Roth. And listeners, I'm thrilled to share with you this podcast, which is my passion project for you. This podcast brings you knowledge, inspiration, and a lot of things that people need to know about the villages and the people living here. Be sure to hit the follow button to get the newest episode each week. Creating this podcast is a labor of love. Even though it demands more time, I can easily spare. Now, here's where you come in. You can help us keep the podcast alive and thriving. How? By becoming a supporter. The easy way for you to support us is to visit our podcast webpage, openforuminthevillagesflorida.com, and click on the supporter button at the top of the page, or the purple supporter box. Even a small donation of $3 to $10 a month makes a big difference, and you can cancel your subscription at any time. Your support means the world to us. Stay curious, stay inspired, and keep those headphones on. I hope everyone enjoys today's show. Today is a very special show. We had a movie premiere at the Old Mill Playhouse on March 7th of the movie produced and directed by Chad Richardson, Bad Senator. After the movie was shown, there was a half-hour Q&A session, which is the bulk of this podcast. Hope you enjoy. And if you get a chance, go out and see Bad Senator.
We're going to start right away. So be about a 30-minute, few questions from Mr. Mike Roth, and then any questions you guys have about the movie, I'd be happy to talk to you about it.
If you're staying, there will be a little bit of a drawing. Everyone will get a ticket. We're going to be doing a question and answer session.
Hey, we're gonna at the end of this podcast, I have some very special items. We're gonna raffle off some mementos that are very important to me and to everybody that made this movie. So my son Finn is passing out a raffle ticket for you, and that's what that's for. So we're gonna give out a few things that are important to us.
We're on a podcast here in the Villages called Open Forum in the Villages. And probably a year ago, I got a blind email from Chad Richardson announcing a screening of his movie that was shot up in Spruce Creek. And I didn't know anything about it, but I went up there to the screening to see it. It was a very different movie than the one we just saw. And this one we just saw was a hell of a lot better. What we're going to do here is take some questions and try to give you some answers about the movie, how it came to be, and what happened. And if you're really brave, you take the card that we gave you, the little square card for Open Forum in the Villages, Florida.com, and go back about a year in episodes, and you'll find a video episode where I interviewed Chad. Anyone in the audience have a question? I know one of the gentlemen in the front said he had a question. Go ahead, fella in the hat.
Sir. Thank you very much. So, and that's, you just hit some sweet spots there, sir. Thank you for commenting. The original title of the movie is called Silly Crane. And the reason it was called Silly Crane is my father was a career police officer, very strict, very no-nonsense kind of guy. And we were sitting having lunch at the golf course at Spruce Creek one day. And at the time, there was this little silly crane that used to be there that would like dance out in the golf course and stuff and made these very funky movements. And I never asked my dad. I don't know why I didn't, but here comes the silly crane while we're having lunch. And here's my stoic dad who never shows any emotion, out of nowhere gets up and starts dancing with the silly crane. So it was a moment I wish it's captured in my head, but was the original title. Now, the reality is when you're trying to sell a movie, Silly Crane just doesn't cut it. So it simply doesn't. So the name Bad Senator, everybody can relate to a bad senator. It doesn't matter what side you're on or what your knowledge is. We can all relate to a bad senator. And that's how the name came to be. Simply, We were forced, as that's the name. And what's interesting, sir, what you picked up on is I'm 59 and I'm from the old school of I love a good, developed, rich character story. And I tried to tell that. And the problem was when I finished the first edit, it was over 3 hours long. And you can't have a drama comedy in this day and age over 3 hours. So I had to make some major cuts. And the front end of the movie suffered the most in two ways. One, it clipped off and made it harder to understand the front of the movie because we had to cut so much. And then the other part was Hunter Cole, who played Billy, came in and just did this amazing supplemental story background about why Billy was the way he was. And it was a romance. It was just an amazing romance between Billy and Eliana. I couldn't tell that story. And it hurts me to this day. But so that front end ended up choppier. And I can tell you, I spent probably 8 months trying to figure out how do I get it to where the audience can truly understand what's going on. And then we get to the meat of the story. I just didn't have the skill level to get that. Our goal, and we've said this, is we get you around the 22, 24-minute mark. And then in our test audiences, we did some small screenings. People start locking in, and then we start seeing their emotions come out. And I hope you guys felt some of that. For us, like the dinner scene with Bob Gallagher was the senator, we set that scene up. When I wrote that scene, I had cried. And I didn't realize the impact of that scene. But Bob spent 2 months studying that scene with a professional coach. And we all felt the emotion of that moment. And so I said, Bob, listen, for you to go there, what do you want me to do as your director? Do you want to go first and we'll do the coverage of you first? Or when do you want to do this? And I want to do it last. And I'm like, are you sure? So you want us to cover every other film angle and cover you last? And he said, yes, I need to do this. And he nailed that every time. And you won't see you couldn't see most of the takes because we were all crying. The crew was all crying. And then somebody was like, and it was me. And I ruined the shot because he just put so much heart and emotion into it. And the amazing thing is those three, Rob, who played Jocko, and Vanessa, who played Iris, literally gave it their absolute all. And I have to point them out. Rob, the original story, Jocko lost his leg in combat and felt that the government forgot about him after a lifetime career in the military. And we have many people that feel that way. I want to tell that story. Rob had a real life injury, as you saw in the movie. And Rob said, I'm willing to do this. And I said, Rob, are you sure? Because obviously it's not just us. Whoever watches this movie is going to see you exposed. And he said, I want to do this. I want to do this. It's in my heart. And we had a tiny crew film that scene. There's only 3 of us and the 2 actors. And it was very emotional because of the vulnerability that he showed. And then, of course, Vanessa in that hospital scene. And I told her, you have to go for it. We're all going to die. And it can be a very lonely process and a very scary thing. I just wrote it and pray somebody can pull it off. And I think she did. I think we all felt her loneliness and her fear, who this ever strong woman. And I hope you understand. But those 3, that's who led this story. So every actor that came in, like Kaylee Amante, our original actress was Carly Naff, who was a professional singer, which you heard her voice is unbelievable, who wanted to turn into an actress. We hired her. She got COVID 2 weeks into the production. So we had already recorded, she'd already flown down and recorded all the songs, but we lost her 30 hours before the biggest scene in the movie, the Opry scene, which was like a 2-day shoot. And we had no actress to do that big Opry scene. Sean Taylor, who is the cinematographer, said, I know this young actress out of Arizona that I've been trying to get for years, and we could try to get her. Mm-hmm. And so I called her, And she said, send me the script. I'm on set right now, but send me the script. I'll take a look. And she called back and she said, I love this script. I love this story. I'll do it. And I said, you do understand you have to learn 5 songs, multiple lines, pull it off in front of a live 400 or 500 people at the Opry. You have to pull it all off in 24 hours. And she said, I'll do it. And I'm like, oh my God. So I flew her out on the next flight. I drove myself to the airport and picked her up. And so we spent driving back from Orlando, me explaining to her all the elements and what she has to hit in these notes. So you saw somebody that had less than 24 hours to prepare for that scene. It was all infectious. Bob and Vanessa and Rob just laid down the gauntlet. Let's give it our all and let's show everybody else that's what we want to do.
Good. Let's take another question from the audience.
I know you're an author. Tell me a little bit about how the gatekeepers that are there in Hollywood and Amazon that stops independent films from getting wide distribution,
Right.
and books from getting wide distribution.
Ooh. It's very hard to break in Hollywood. I've been out to LA. I had an agent at one time. I've almost sold some scripts, and for whatever reason, they got hung up and they just didn't sell. It's a very difficult place there. See, the thing is, if indie filmmakers can make it, then what do we need Hollywood for? And that's what they're afraid of. And it's a bias system, unfortunately. We took over 2 years to get this thing going. We filmed this 2.5 years ago. We had some distribution issues we're still trying to figure out, but we feel like they thought it was a political movie and they buried the movie for almost a year. And so that was very painful for us because we're all very proud of this movie. But speaking of the writing, what happened was in 2012, I was a police officer. I was in the gym during lunch at 4 a.m. and I had a heart attack. And I'm sitting in a hospital bed and I said, what do I want the rest of my life to look like when I retire? What do I want to accomplish? And I just love writing. And I love to tell you a few stories. Like I was at Al Pacino's house, which is this screenplay I'm going to offer later. But I've loved writing since I was a kid. So I started writing. And the first thing I wrote which was natural, I wrote a couple police thrillers. And then I wrote a book called Iris Valley. I have 4 copies I want to raffle off today. Iris Valley is much in the same vein as Bad Center. It's a very heartfelt, personal story that centers around 5 people in a little town of Iris Valley in the hills of Georgia. And we hope to develop that one next. So I want to give you guys a couple samples, see what you think. But as far as writing books, I sit up here, but I'm actually an introvert. And to sell books, you're competing against about 15 million other books on Amazon. So
Each
to
month.
sell them, you have to advertise yourself. I like being behind the scenes. So I moved away from writing books. People really love the book and the books, but I just couldn't be out in front. So, but I do want to share. I signed the copies and have you take a look and see what you guys think about Iris Valley. But I really love the stories in there.
Next question. On the green, if you want to come forward. Tony, can you give him a microphone? Tell everyone your name first.
Name's Shep. The fact that the narrative arc of the movie is leading your main character, the senator, to redemption. The thing that bothered me in the end was as they come back and they are with Iris through her death,
Right.
I think they're redeemed.
That's an awesome point. Question, some of the test audiences said the exact same thing. I just wanted one more moment. And Bobby Randall, who played that part, and so I don't know if you guys know this, but you have the Orange Blossom Opry's in Weirsdale. It is the hidden gem of Central Florida. It has some of the most amazing and talented performers. So my mother's up in the audience right there. We've been going to the Orange Blossom Opry for over 25 years. And this is another great story is I reached out to Roger and Heather Byers to try to film there because it was a dream for me to film at that Opry. I love it so much. And it took a year before Roger, they would respond because he's very protective of that place. And he finally called me one day and he said, "Are you Chad Richardson?" I said, "Yes." He goes, "Can you stop calling me? Can you stop bothering me?" I said, "No, I can't. I can't." I go, "Give me 5 minutes to tell you what this story's about." And if you want to say no, then fine. So that 5 minutes turned to 10, 20, turned into a meeting with Roger and Heather. And not only did they embrace the story, but they said, this place is yours. Whenever you want to film, whatever you want to do, we're there to support you. And along with that came Bobby Randall, who joined in. And this is what's, I tell you, this whole thing is so amazing. So Bobby came in and said, I love this story too. I love what you're trying to do. How can I help you? And in the process, him and Carly Naff got together during recording the songs for the movie and wrote that last song together before we filmed That Girl's Gonna Go Far. That was Bobby and Carly being inspired by this movie and wrote that song for us, for this movie. I cried when they did that for us. I couldn't believe that Bobby Randall founded Sawyer Brown. He is a legend in music circles. And here I have this legend, felt so much about this movie and a story that he said, I'm going to write a story from my heart. And they got together and did this. It's magical. I love that song in the movie.
Yeah, that last scene with Bobby coming down the truck, and you recognize that it's Bobby. You really are tying up the movie.
Exactly.
Front to the back.
Yeah.
That was real good. We have time for another question. Doc, the fellow in the orange-yellow shirt. Doc is one of our improvers. He's going to be here on this stage on the 5th of April.
I look forward to it. Of course, I'm real shy.
Yeah.
A wild and crazy guy.
Here's the next senator.
My question is, where did you get your actors?
Oh my gosh, a long search. We had a couple thousand applicants, and then I saw Bob, and it was immediate for Bob Gallagher as soon as I saw his audition. Rob, I passed over. There was about 800 people who were trying to get the role of Jocko. I passed over Rob over and over again, and then I just go, you know what, I saw his picture. I'm going to just check on this guy, even though he's not the guy. And I clicked on some of his reels, and I was like, who is this guy? He's completely different than what I thought. And then I called him, and I said, hey, could I talk to Rob Moore? And he says, this is Rob Moore. And I go, no, it's not. I just watched Rob Moore in these reels, and this sounds nothing like Rob Moore. And he goes, is it Rob Moore? And I go, oh my gosh. And I was blessed to find him. And then Vanessa, I searched for her for months. You had to have somebody, if you watch this movie again, she's about 30 or 40 different people. She has this subtle difference. Like every scene, she's different. And you don't even pick up on it unless you really focus on her. But she brings this nuance to every scene that was amazing. They're amazing. They really were. They're amazing.
And basically a follow-up to the actor's question, where did you find Billy? And has he gone on, or any of the other actors and actresses gone on to make any waves in the motion picture industry?
Yeah, I don't think they have, and I don't understand why. Billy Hunter Cole is out in New York. He never said anything to us, but he was actually a Korean pop star before he became an actor. He was in this pop star group in Korea and played at the Olympics and never said a word to us. And when I saw him, I called him, and he was the most humble, kind person. And in the process of the audition, I said, can you send a few pictures of yourself? And he sent me a picture, and I immediately sent back, hey, can I get a picture without the chicken for legs in the picture? And he laughed about it. And I go, this kid's got game. This kid is a really nice guy. And he's so humble, so sweet. Like, we made meals at my mother's house, and while other actors ate and left, I look over one day and Hunter's doing the dishes with my mom. That's how humble this guy is. And he walks, like wherever he went in the community, it's like there's an aura of this guy. We had 75-year-old women making propositions to me for Hunter. It was amazing. Even like you saw he's such a good guy that I took out the goat in the script. And the reason why is because I wanted to surprise him and put a goat in the car with him. So when you see him jump out, that was a surprise. We set him up because I like to pull jokes on people, and it just went over great. And he was such a great sport about a goat attacking him in the back of a car. But yeah, that was awesome.
That was a great scene. That was a great scene.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Wait until the microphone gets to you. This is Rosalie.
Hi, I'm Rosalie from the Villages. The story was phenomenal,
Thank you.
and I cried. It touched our hearts. Okay.
By hands, how many others were
Oh my
touched in the
God.
heart by the film?
Thank you.
That's like almost 100% of the audience.
Look at how many people Iris touched lives. Phenomenal.
Yeah.
First of all, okay, I want to ask, was it strictly in Spruce Creek?
No, we had scenes. It was mainly in Spruce Creek, but we had
Okay.
a couple scenes in the villages. We had a couple scenes for the medical offices.
Okay.
So the villages,
Yeah.
we tried to film in the villages, and at the time we could not get the okay. In the villages defense, the Morris family,
Yeah.
it was made clear to me that a documentary filmmaker came in here and made a mockery of you guys.
Oh, yes.
And they were
They did.
pretty scarred by that.
Yes.
But here we are. Not only are we allowed here to do this,
Yeah.
but they own the Village's Daily Sun, and they did an amazing article for us on Monday.
Good.
So I don't know how they heard about the
I'm
story.
glad to hear that.
I want to thank, if I can ever find out who talked to them. But I told them from the beginning, this isn't about politics. This is about family and love and friendship. And so I'm very appreciative. And we'd love to come down here again. We have to prove to Hollywood that there's a market for you guys. Before we pass things out, we have to create, and this is what I ask of you, we have to create a viral launch point. People in Hollywood are watching, our distributors watching. And if we're going to be successful, if you like movies and shows like this, then your voice has to be heard. We're an indie filmmaking company. We don't have a Hollywood budget
Chad,
for marketing.
why don't you tell them how they can make their voice heard?
I'm not good at social media. I should bring my son Finnegan up for that. He could
You
tell
know the
you.
email address that you want them to send an email to?
I just post Instagram, TikTok, Snickerdoodle, whatever, all those social media. But we need the word to get out that this is a good. The best compliments I heard is I had some people see the movie and said, I wish I would have watched this with a loved one. And so that's a great compliment. Yes, sure.
Wait for the microphone, Rosalie.
Now, I did not know anything about the movie, first of all. But I do know the red carpet here in the Villages is phenomenal.
Right.
I've been to another one before, and it was about a story in France, and that was excellent. Okay. This was that was very touching also. And so was this. Today, we had lunch at 21 of us women, had lunch at Glenview Country Club. And I shared with them this little thing, and I says, please take a picture of it so you can share with them, and please go to the red carpet show.
Thank you very much. But that's what I'm talking about is people getting ill like that. What time do we have? 4 minutes. So what you can do today for us is I'm going to bring up these things I'd love to give you. But my brother's going to be outside when you leave the theater. If you want to say anything about the movie, unless you're going to say it sucks, and please don't say anything. But if you feel like you want to say something about it that we can use for marketing, put on Facebook or wherever, then we really appreciate it. Because now this is the drive to try to, so people can find out about the movie. But let me get these real quick. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah. Okay. Right.
Hard cuts and dissolves, especially, and the other with the transitions when people are coming to see Iris, why you used hard cuts instead of dissolves. And the other question I have is, was there a significant reason why some of the scenes were orange? I don't know, because I know people use like colors for significant reasons or whatnot.
Yeah, those are great questions. A lot of it obviously you sounds like you've done filmmaking, editing without question by asking that question. A lot of it was just is that I felt like some of the fade ins or fade outs, I wanted a moment. I wanted a moment to breathe, a moment to relax, a moment to think about what just happened. I tried different things. When I did a hard cut, sometimes I felt like I wouldn't be giving the audience just a moment to reflect. Because very often what happens is when we see something, our minds go to some association to our own lives. I wanted to have these moments that you have time to reflect. And this again goes to our dream is that where there's this forgiveness, that there's a moment where you go, you know what, I'm going to call my brother. I haven't talked to him in 5 years. I'm going to call my estranged daughter and I'm going to reach out. So it was mainly by feel. And then the second question was already
About color tone.
Oh, color grading. Man, I wish I knew you back then. So I wanted the dinner scene to have a very soft overtone and undertone. And what's interesting, my brother, we're on the side there, is so on my computer, which is a very good computer, the color was where I want it. But every single time I've shown this movie, it comes out different. And as in color grading, it's frustrating because I spent months and months getting exactly the color I want. Like you may have noticed, you would, that some of the scenes had too dark of shadows in them. And I was like, oh man, that looks so perfect when my computer and even on like my test TV that I use in my office. And then, so you and I know, I'm like, that's not what I wanted. But you have to be proud of how it ended up turning out. There's many things that you'll go, I wish I did this, or I wish that looked this way. But overall, I just wanted a warm feeling so that we knew it wasn't going to be a cold situation between Richard. It was a moment to apologize.
I think we have to do the drawing now.
Yeah.
We're just about burned off the time.
All right. So first,
Oh, someone didn't get some tickets.
anybody not get tickets?
Rosalie. Oh, if you went to the restroom, you lost your chance. Luckily, we have a fast young fella out there who's going to give you a ticket. It looks like we got some movie posters here and some books and an original script. Script.
Here's the book, Iris Valley. And where's the Dale? Can you pick out a number? The 1 through 40. The 1 through 40, Finn?
Might as well show everyone the book and read the number.
13.
Lucky 13. Hey, Janice. Okay, take all books. I'll pull out a number. Okay, on the green tickets. Okay, number 27. Okay, we have Vicky in the front row. Okay, I can see that. Whoa, that's number E. Okay, E. We have 27 here too. The E is a winner. Oh, I think that was Vicky.
Up top. You're right.
There's one extra. One to the letter E and 1 to 27, the lady in blue. Okay. No, we didn't do number 16. Do we have number 16 in the audience? Must be. Hey, Michael. Okay. No. Okay. Yep, Finn. See, 7. Okay. Rosalie. Okay. That looks like something really special. What is it? We're overtime.
So this is the original script, and not even all the actors and crew have this. This is the script that on day one of shoot that we had, and it changed and evolved every day. But this is the original script, and then I wrote behind the scenes notes and thoughts about what happened. And I don't have time to tell a story, but I was in Al Pacino's house when I was younger, and I was lucky enough to read Al Pacino's copy of the Godfather script. And it had all of Al's notes and Robert De Niro's notes, and it had an argument between Al Pacino and Coppola, and it was one of the most magical moments of my life. I can't tell you the whole story. You guys would go, you do not believe the story of being at Al Pacino's house. But anyway, I know my glasses on. What to say?
Love this scene. So much fun.
Yeah, there's lots of. I put it. Nobody else knows what's in this book, and if you're not into this type of things, please just have somebody raise their hand that would appreciate it. But if you're really into screenplays and history of cinema and filmmaking, this truly is one of a kind. There is no other one like this, and nobody else is going to ever see this copy. It's just that simple. It's gone now. So this is it. One. I don't have a copy. Yeah, my family knows. We want to be thankful to the people that help us. He's got a pretty good life. He's doing all right. So it's signed. Yeah, it's signed on the back. What's that? Why? I have 6 kids, so who do I give it to? I'm trying to sell them, and you're trying to get me to give them something to stay. All right, here we go. All right, here we go. Drum roll, please. There you go.
The lucky number is 33.
My exact age. Oh my gosh, Dottie. Dottie, you guys may recognize her. She's the slut in the movie. Dottie's the one that we made do the big comment at the beginning of the movie. And she's such a great sport about it. She got a lot of teasing over it, so that worked out great. So go ahead and get that done. All right. Thank you so much. And we'll be out. If you guys want any pictures, we'll be out there.
This is Mike Roth and Dr. Craig Curtis. We're talking about Alzheimer's disease.
So even if you removed 100% of the amyloid, that would not cure Alzheimer's. That is true in patients with symptoms. You can remove all the amyloid, yet the symptoms will continue to progress. So what we're doing now in these prevention studies is we're trying to see if removing amyloid prior to symptoms beginning, if removing all the amyloid out of your brain, whether or not that actually halts the progression into actual symptoms in Alzheimer's disease.
With over 20 years of experience studying brain health, Dr. Curtis's goal is to educate the Villages community on how to live a longer, healthier life. To learn more, visit his website, craigcurtismd.com, or call 352-500-5252 to attend a free seminar.
Remember, our next episode will be released next Friday at 9 a.m. Should you want to become a major supporter of the show or have questions, please contact us at mike@rothvoice.com. This is a shout out for supporters: Tweek Coleman, Ed Williams, Dwayne Romich, Paul Sorgen, Kathy Loving, and Dr. Craig Curtis at K2 in the Villages. We will be hearing more from Dr. Curtis with short Alzheimer's tips each week. If you know someone who should be on the show, contact us at mike@rothvoice.com. The way our show grows is with your help. Text your friends about this show if you enjoyed listening, or just tell your friends about the show. We thank everyone for listening to the show. The content of the show is copyrighted by Roth Voice 2025. All rights reserved.